Alright, I'm sorry it's taken me so long to put something up here, but school has been crazy the first few weeks. Okay, this week we started learning about the powers of 10, and some of the kids were having more difficulties than others with this, but in their reference notebook they have this chart. Now it's just a very simple chart. You have 10 to whatever power. For example, 10 to the first power is basically 10. 10 to the second power, if you were to express that, would be 10 times 10, or 100. 10 to the third power would be 10 times 10 times 10, or 1,000. Now, what I asked the kids to do is to locate the pattern, and today they were able to tell me, for example, 10 to the fifth power, the answer, which is 100,000, would have 5 zeros. So they were able to tell me that. They were able to find the pattern that if it's 10 to the fifth power, that equals 100,000. So they were able to do that today. Now, we're going to take this and we're going to talk about what some of the kids are having trouble on while we're in class. So what the kids are having problems with are problems like this, because they're getting confused on which direction to move the decimal. Now, at first, I went the route of moving the number, but the kids didn't understand that as well as when I talked about moving the decimal. So we are going to be moving the decimal. And what I've told them about moving the decimal is that when you are dividing, okay, your number is going to get smaller, so you're actually going to move the decimal to the left. When you are multiplying, the number is going to get larger, so your decimal actually moves to the right. Now, another thing that I had to tell them, and we're going to start it this week, is you may actually see, for example, this is a times. This only works when it's a whole number, like a power of 10, like 10, 100, thousands. If they ever have a multiplication problem that is a fraction of a power of 10, okay, this is basically division. The decimal is going to move to the left. So we're going to work on that. That'll be 1,000 this week and next week. But when they see this, I've told them to automatically in their head change it to division by the denominator. So that's how they're going to identify that. That's just some tricks I've told them on their homework, on any papers, tests, or anything that we may have to do. Write this at the bottom. It could be their little guide. So, and another thing that I make all the kids do, regardless, is when we write a number, let's say it's 5.25 times 10. Alright, the first thing that I make them do, the very first thing, is write a decimal, or draw one up here. Okay? The second thing I make them do is tell me if the number is going to get larger or smaller. Now, we're multiplying, so the number is going to get larger, so that means my decimal is going to be moving to the right. Look at my number zeros, one time. So every time they have a math problem like this, or if it's a division problem, I'm making them do this until I know that they've mastered the whole process. So when they do this math problem, they know that they're going to move this little decimal one spot over, and their new answer is 52 5/10. Now let's say if the problem was reversed and we have 5.25 divided by 10. They would do the same thing. They would put the decimal up here. They would realize that we're going to be dividing, so the number is going to get smaller or less, so we move to the left. How many times? 1. So they just move this decimal one place to the left. So your new number is 0.525. Now some of them are having trouble with me putting a 0 in the whole numbers place. That's just how my brain works. They don't have to. I told them that I would take 0.525 thousandths, or I would take the 0.525 thousandths. They just need to know that it's this. Now, another thing that some of them are running into problems with would be a problem like this. Let's do 0.1804 divided by 1,000. All right, now, so the first thing I would tell them to do, and we always do this, is we put our decimal, whoops, that's in the wrong spot, I'm sorry. We put our decimal right here, okay? Now, we are dividing, so we're moving to the left, and we're going to look at our zeros. We have 3. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to move this decimal 3 places to the left. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3. And our decimal goes right there. Now, we have 2 blank spaces, and we cannot leave them blank. So the only number we can put there is a placeholder, which is 0. So they have to come over here and write their new answer. 1, 2, 3, 1, 8, 0, 4. So anytime that happens, you have to use a filler number, and the filler number is going to be 0 99.9% of the time. So I don't like saying always. So that is some of the stuff we've been going over in class. But something that they're going to start like tomorrow night, their homework, and just to give you a heads up on that, their homework is going to be where am I at? 10 to the second power. All right, now their homework is going to be not written out like they normally see it. Now, some people can see this and they go, ooh, I'm going to move it twice. Others, they may have to go down below it and write 100. And that is fine. However they can get the right answer, it's fine. As long as they can explain what they did, I'm good with it. Now, and just like I did up here, I'm multiplying, so I'm moving to the right. How many times? 2. So 1, 2. The new number is 981 and 1600ths. And if you were to do this with a division problem, where did it go? .615 divided by 10 to the first power. All right, now they can use their chart, they can do whatever, but they see that if I'm moving or if I'm dividing by 10 to the first power, which is just 10. Same thing. I'm starting up here. I'm dividing, so I'm moving the decimal to the left. How many times? 1. Decimal goes there. So my answer is 0.5615. Okay? Now, if you have any more questions about this, this deals with powers of 10. Please do not worry. Just give me a message through Dojo. Most of the time, I answer Dojo from 6 a.m. to 3:30 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Unless it's an emergency, then I will go after 4 o'clock, but those are what I refer to as my Dojo hours, from 6 a.m. to 4 p.m. So if you have any questions, you can email me, riley.moore@lcss.us, or you can contact me using the Dojo. Sorry, I just went blank. All right, have a good afternoon.